Look at me. Look at me on here. It's good not to, I don't have to stare at somebody else who think they pretty in a ball cap. I can just sit here and just smile. It's a good day. It's a very good day. Y'all know we're going to cover UFC 259. As a matter of fact, almost this entire show is dedicated to UFC 259. Because we got a lot to talk about. So we're going to jump into it and we're going to have a good time. And I'm flying solo. So if y'all want to comment, I appreciate it. If I'm not doing something to you liking, let me know. If I am, it can stay in the 30s. I'm good with it. 20s, 30s, I'm good with it.
When you got that natural installation, bro, it's cool. I get it.
Real men come from the north. So we can deal with
Oh, there we go. Okay, there we go. That sums it all up. Let's get
we can deal with the cold.
I'm saying these names not because they're essentially the best fighters out there, which we can make a case for Shakur Stevenson, definitely. They just look that much better than whoever they fight.
I think he might want to keep this thing on the feet and stay any way possible. Stay away from that guillotine choke. he was squeezing Buddy's face in the last fight and put him out.
Come on, dog. Let's fight.
Welcome to the Fighter Share Report. Hey. Exciting times in sports today. Good morning, Kenneth Clark. I'm doing well. I appreciate you tuning in. UFC 259 is in the books, baby. In the books. It was a great card like we thought it would be. Listen, Jan the Jan Blachowicz is the man. He and Israel Adesanya had an epic fight last night for the main event. Yes, we're starting out with the main event. That's okay. Trust me, it gets better as we go. Mind you, Israel Adesanya is the middleweight champion of the world. And he came up to fight the lightweight champion of the world. Israel maxed out at 201 pounds. That's what he weighed in. The limit is 205. Jan weighed in at 205. Israel got up to 201. Jan walks around probably about 220, 225. So when he rehydrated to about that. Now, why are you saying this, bro? It lays the groundwork for what happened. I gave Israel Adesanya at least the first and the third round, maybe even the second. So I gave him on my scorecard the first 3 rounds. I could see where someone would say, okay, Jan got the second round, maybe, or it was a 9-9 round. But I definitely gave Israel Adesanya the first and the third round and gave him no less than a draw in that second round. Now, in the fourth and fifth round, Jan got to the point where he was able to take Israel Adesanya down. And when he got Israel Adesanya down, he could lay on him. And he can do a little bit of ground and pound. Didn't do much in the fourth round with him when he got him down. But octagon control was a term entered into the UFC to level the playing field, if you understand what I'm saying. So when you look at the fights over the past decade, octagon control is something that the UFC implemented to level the playing field. Because if you look at the first half of each round, well, in the fourth round, Jan Blachowicz took him down with 3 minutes left in the 5-minute round and just held him on the ground. So yeah, I definitely give him round 4. but Israel was beating him to the punch before he took him down. Round 5, he took him down with exactly 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the fight. So exactly halfway through the fight, Jan Blachowicz took Israel Adesanya down and kept him down to the end of the round. Before that, Israel was tagging him. So when you hear people say Israel was winning the first half of the round, but because octagon control, they gave Jan the whole round. I'm like, wait a minute. But if you were losing in the first half of the 5th round and you took him down and you won the second half of the 5th round, doesn't that look like a 9-9 round? Possibly. Should be. I think the scoring is way off. And then you had some judges that gave Jan all 5 rounds. Some gave him 4 rounds. And even Dana White said this is crazy. Now, Dana's not doing anything about it, but even Dana White is saying there's no way. He said at most, Jan got 3 rounds, Israel got 2 at most. But Jan Blachowicz, great job. You weren't able to knock Izzy out like most people thought you would have to do to win. Izzy is that master tactician. I still think he did enough to win, but he was quite a bit smaller and he could not deal with the weight of Jan Blachowicz when Jan took him down. But Jan is still the UFC light heavyweight champion of the world. Izzy's first loss in mixed martial arts. Mind you, he has 75 victories in kickboxing as well. And he's only 31 years old. Israel is still the best fighter at 205, at 185. All right, so moving on to the Lioness reigns. And I should have said the Lioness. Oh, I did. The Lioness still reigns. The co-main was Amanda Nunes versus Megan Anderson. Now, you heard me say, if you've been watching last week at all, you heard me say that for Megan Anderson to win, she had to have a jab, a front kick. She had to use her legs and she was so much taller and longer with her limbs than Amanda Nunes. It was ridiculous. But she doesn't know how to fight tall. She was crouching down. If you know Amanda's best punch is the overhand right, why do you crouch down into it? Somebody, anybody, help me, please. I'm trying to understand why you crouch down into the overhand right. You've got at least, if I'm not mistaken, she's got at least 3-4 inches in height on Amanda Nunes. Megan looks like she could dunk. It reminded me of Von der Ward and Ann Wolfe, what we used to show at the beginning of this show, that incredible knockout where Ann Wolfe overhand right on the chin. Bam! Von der Ward just stretched out, bro. Leg buckled, had to flap back into place. It was ugly. That's where that fight was headed. Then Megan tried to, she hit it and she did like the wobble. I don't know if y'all know the dance, the wobble. If you look at that knockout or that knockdown, before she went down, Amanda Nunes hit Megan Anderson and Megan did the wobble and then turned herself around and Amanda hit her again. And then Megan tried to reach out and grab Amanda Nunes, who literally just turned her and shoved her down like she was an offensive lineman finishing a pancake block. Mounted her, started striking her repeatedly. Megan turns, gives her back. Amanda puts her in a triangle choke and an arm bar at the same time. And Megan taps out. 2 minutes and 3 seconds in the first round. 2 minutes, 3 seconds in the first round. And that's why they don't put Amanda Nunes on last anymore, because it's anticlimactic. I was not one to jump in and sing her praises in the beginning for various reasons. I remember seeing Kat Zingano beat her on a YouTube fight, and this was before everything clicked for Amanda Nunes. Mind you, I saw this after I saw Amanda beat the mess out of Ronda Rousey, which was beautiful. And I was really, I was cheering for Amanda Nunes at that point because of the challengers that they were giving Ronda Rousey up to that point. Rarely were they credible. But, she was selling. She was blonde. She was rugged. She was shapely. And Dana White that was his cash cow. She was making more than most of the men, which is a good thing. But when you look at her productivity at the time, so I was really rooting for Amanda Nunes when she beat her. And after really sitting down and looking at Amanda Nunes, looking at her body of work, some people call her the GOAT in MMA. Some people call her the GWOAT, greatest woman of all time. She's one of the greatest fighters of all time in MMA, simply because she's got 9 or 10, I think 9 title defenses in 2 weight classes since 2015, I think, or 2016. It's ugly. And the commentators keep saying there's got to be a woman out there we haven't seen yet who can beat her. And Amanda keeps saying, bring him to me and I'll knock him down. And she keeps knocking him down. She fights once or twice a year, which I'm thinking if you have 2 weight, but the weight classes, the divisions aren't thick. They're not full. They're not heavy with competition. So she's able to do that. Congratulations to Amanda Nunes for your, again, title defense at 145 pounds. Can't wait to see who fights you at 135. I bet afterwards they'll regret getting in the octagon. A Sterling champion. All right. The first of the championship fights. Petr Yan versus Aljamain Sterling. Look, this was a fight. Aljo started out very well, like a house of fire. He was the challenger. He came in and it was organized chaos pretty much. He just kept working from every angle he could. Petr Yan really could not figure him out in the first round. The second round, Petr Yan started figuring him out, started tagging him. And Aljo always makes me nervous by the way he holds his hands and the wide punches he throws, the reckless elbows, the spinning back fists. The fact that he was missing Petr Yan and swinging through so hard that he was giving him his back and he was having to work to get away from him. And listen, make no mistake, Aljo was either down 2 rounds to 1 or up 2 rounds to 1, depending on the judges' scorecard you looked at in that fourth quarter. But Petr Yan was winning that fourth round, winning that fourth round. So the way things were going, it was either going to be tied after that fourth round or Petr Yan was going to be up 3 rounds to 1 after that fourth round, because Aljo had no answers for him in that fourth round. None. So when I say this was just very stupid, very stupid. Okay. Okay. You know what? I'm not mad at that at all. Let me finish this and I'll deal with that. Aljo was on his knees and he was in front. Hello, Miss Audrey Brown. He was in front of Petr Yan, and there was nothing that Aljo could do. Aljo was trying to get up. Well, actually, he wasn't trying to get up, but Petr Yan was holding him down. He had him in a vulnerable position. And Every fighter knows, amateur or professional, every fighter knows in mixed martial arts, when the knees are down, when a knee is down, definitely when both are down, you cannot strike them with your feet or with your knee. Sterling was looking like he was looking to block the punches, because you can punch a man who's down on his knees. But if you're standing and he's down on his knees, you cannot strike him with a knee or a foot. Well, guess what? With 4 minutes and 23 seconds, I think, gone in the fourth round, Petr Yan, who was winning the fight and the champion, looks at his corner and asks, do I hit him now? And somebody calls out, his coach says, one of his coaches says, punches, which are legal. Somebody else says, yes. But actually, Petr Yan asked if he could kick him. Are you saying kick him now? And one of the coaches yelled out, yes. And Petr Yan drives a knee through the face of Aljamain Sterling while he is on his knees, giving him a severe concussion. Aljamain could not get up. He tried, fell down. They had to hold him up when they disqualified Petr Yan, and awarded Aljamain Sterling the title. Now, Al didn't want the title that way. He took it off and dropped it. But they had to hold this man up for him to even get his hand raised. That's how hurt he was. Okay. Listen. We're going to do kind of a recap. I'm a deal, and I appreciate Jesus M for this comment. You scored 48-48 in Izzy versus Yan fight. Yeah. I could definitely see 48-48. I had it 49-48 or 48-47 for Izzy on my card. But again, you don't leave it up to the judges. And when you think about the marketing impact it would have had on the whole 205 division had they given Izzy that victory or awarded him that victory, it would have decimated the 205. And John Jones has already gone to heavyweight. It would have decimated the 205 division. That wasn't going to happen. So when Dana says the judges are foul and this and that, I'm like, no, they're your judges. You keep putting them back in. So they're doing what you want them to do. With the Aljamain Sterling Petr Yan fight, look, my personal feeling is you're disqualified. You're disqualified. You do not get a rematch. You go back and get in line. You fight, you come back up. You are disqualified. At least you're suspended because you knew. But you can come up with any excuse as to why you hit that man when he was down, but you knew you shouldn't have hit him while he was down. And you were winning the fight. So that's why the commentator's like, well, he was winning, so it had to be an accident. He asked his corner, and his corner told him to do it. No accident. No accident, my friend. None. Had it been the other way around, Aljamain Sterling would have been suspended from the UFC for a period of time, and it would have been a minute before he received another opportunity for a title. Do your due diligence. For once, be fair about this. Be fair about this. And make him go through the ranks again. I mean, understand the gravity of what you did. You sent that man to the hospital. You sent him to the hospital. Okay, 2 rounds were close. Izzy versus Yan. So it was 10-10. Okay. I can't be mad at that decision. Jesus, I cannot be mad at that decision. I would support you in that. There was no way the scores came out the way they called them. Even Yan was shocked. I rarely, he was humbled in his press conference. Even he was shocked that the scores were that wide. But again, Izzy allowed the judges to take his O, and they did. Now, there were other things he could have done, like have better takedown defense. Stop being, cute Ali-ish with your punch defense, because in boxing, yeah, you can lean back and move out the way. But in MMA, at that point, they take you down and you have no balance with your hips and your feet. You go down. And that's what Jan did. Look, shout out to everybody who watched. Kenneth, Audrey, Jesus, thank you all for chiming in. Fighter Share Nation, we love you. Hey, check in on somebody that may be going through something right now. Depression is real. We love you. See you tomorrow.